I want to talk about this topic about how some American people who are really the frontliners when it comes to like hospitality and all that stuff, trying to truck drivers from the police officers, nurses and doctors. I want to talk about this topic about how we are. If it wasn't for us, the government would be in total disarray right now. Which, with the comes to the Canadian government, they pretty much are. And here's what I found funny about this, man. Nobody really hears a lot of things about Canada unless there's some type of protest going on. You don't really hear a lot about Canada, or even from these mandates, because some things. I never really heard a lot of news from Canada unless there was some people getting arrested for disobeying some of the mandates. Which, again, I don't live in Canada. That's not my problem. But my thing is, when you have companies like big companies that are out here purposely attacking people who are peacefully protesting, like doing an actual authentic peaceful protest. They're saying like the freaking Canadian governor told all workers, like all the truck drivers, you guys cannot enter or you guys cannot work in the great place of Canada unless you had the jab or you come back with a negative test of the coof. In which a lot of Canadian drivers said, screw that, I'm not about to be dealing with any of that crap. So what they did is like, they put out a freedom convoy for a whole week, and while they was doing this, the Canadian Prime Minister, the Canadian President, I don't know which one it is for real. From the news I read, they went out and called the police to like get them off the road, but the Canadian police is like, yo, hey man, I'm not about to come at you with force. I'm just going to say, hey, man, I'm going to need to ask you to leave. And they left. And while the truck driver was out there, they wasn't seriously, the truck driver wasn't out there just doing nothing. Like with some of the truck drivers who had like donations, like food donations and all that stuff, they was helping feed the homeless. They was helping the homeless out. They was giving the homeless some kind of shelter, some kind of warmth. So when people say, oh, these truck drivers were just doing this for clout, yes, probably. But at the end of the day, they was feeding the homeless and actually giving them some stuff they needed in order to survive on the cold streets of Canada. Because it's a freaking blizzard up there right now. So the leader of the people, the person that orchestrated the freaking truck driver convoy, they end up using GoFundMe in order to gain some money, and they raised a whole lot of money for free, calling for freedom, like medical freedom and all that stuff. But here's what I'm saying: if you use GoFundMe, stop that shit right now, because here's what the freaking people at GoFundMe did. And they gave out some BS terms of service, talking about they out here doing the truck drivers was out here doing something shady. Look at this crap. Breaking from February 14th from the Post Millennial. Breaking: GoFundMe takes down truckers' 10 million Freedom Convoy fundraiser, calling peaceful protest and occupation. You see what I mean, man? When I say, yo, if you use GoFundMe, stop using that shit. Stop using GoFundMe. GoFundMe has taken down the Freedom Convoy fundraiser after significant pushback from those opposed to protests, which mainly means, the authoritarian left. They stated that they have evidence from law enforcement that the previously peaceful demonstration has become an occupation with police officers, violence, and other unlawful activity. I have not heard a lot of things about some violence from these truck drivers, because when they was there, the police officers was there. They went peacefully. I was like, you know what? Okay, because all that truck driving, all those towing those drivers, that was going to take a long time to do. All right, but let me go ahead and keep on going with this. In a statement Friday, the company said following a review of relevant facts and multiple discussions with law enforcement, local law enforcement, and city officials, this fundraiser is now violating the terms of service. Term 8, which prohibits the promotion of violence and harassment, and has been removed from the platform. That's bullshit. They just pulled that out of their ass. They just pulled that out of their ass. They did. Because I've been paying attention to this whole truck driver convoy in Canada. There was no burning down buildings. There was no fights. They just made that shit up. They just made that up. Organizers provided a clear distribution plan for the initial $1 million that was released earlier this week and confirmed funds will be used only for participants who traveled to Ottawa to participate in a peaceful protest. Given how this situation has evolved, no further funds will be directly distributed to the Freedom Convoy organizers. We will work with organizers to send all remaining funds to credible and established charities verified by GoFundMe. So, I don't know if this means like the people who gave their money are going to get their money back. But if they don't get their money back, then GoFundMe is stealing. It's stealing their money. Because that money was supposed to go to those truck drivers peacefully protesting, which they did, but GoFundMe took it upon themselves to just shut it all down because they was raising too much money. And because they're not on the right side of politics, which is why they did this. Prior to being taken down, the Freedom Convoy raised over $10 million in donations. All donors may submit a request for a full refund until February 19, 2020, using this dedicated refund form. Okay, so unless people get notified that GoFundMe has stopped letting people fund, the truck drivers convoy GoFundMe account, then they will not be getting their money back. But that's a lot of people that they got notified, and a lot of people don't really look at a lot of news for real. So what GoFundMe did was complete and utter BS because these truck drivers were peacefully protesting, saying like, "Yo, we do not want to get jabbed up in order to work because let's be real here, truck drivers is only one person in that truck, and plus they're driving hours and hours and hours, isolated from a lot of people, just driving on the road." But they don't want to go. They don't want to get the jab, and they don't want to do a weekly test every time they go to work. Again, there should be no problem with that, people. There should be no problem with that. That's people's medical freedom right there that they want to establish. But GoFundMe took down this fundraiser because first of all they was raising too much money and they was raising too much attention. That whole this fundraiser, it promotes harassment and violence, is all BS. It really is. I have not really heard a lot of stories of truck drivers getting into fights with some government officials or some law enforcement. And if it was, then that it shouldn't have happened. But from what I've read, it never happened in the first place. So what GoFundMe did was complete BS, and they end up shutting this down just for the hell of it, because the truck drivers are not on the right side of the politics. But guys, like I said, man, stop using GoFundMe. If you use GoFundMe, stop using that bullshit. But let me know what you guys think. If you guys like what I'm saying, like and subscribe, share this video, hit that notification bell. I will see you on the next one. Peace.